All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and hopefully you'll be able to see, hopefully you can see the screen now.
All right, yeah, like a graph.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to do here is we've got a student here. Let me just get rid of these bits up here, get that down there. Okay, so we've got a student here, Draco Malfoy, okay, so obviously not a real student, but one
Yeah.
we use for these purposes, okay? And what we're going to do here is we're going to just quickly have a look at what the student experience is like, all right?
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is on the left-hand side, obviously this is just demonstration purposes, but the student is enrolled for quite a number of courses here, a couple of GCSEs, a couple of A-levels, the roadmap, a bit of Spanish, a bit of a mixture. So what we're going to do is we're going to assume we're looking at the Edexcel GCSE P9 to 1 just for a second.
Yep.
And I, as the student here, I'm going to go into here, and I've got my course all laid out in structures, okay? So the important thing to realize is that we have chapters, we have topics, which in this case is the skeleton,
Yep.
and then we have lessons, which is functions, classification of bones, and structure of the skeleton, okay? So we've got those structures in place, and you might notice as well, we've got these checkpoints here, and I'll tell you about those in a few moments' time.
All right,
What I'll do is I'm going to go down to one that we haven't opened with this student before. So we've got this one here, sociocultural influences. We've got this topic here, engagement patterns, and we've got 2 lessons within it, okay? So if I go into this engagement patterns 1 lesson,
Yep.
and I hit start learning there, what we've got there is we have the tutorial experience. So you see this tutorial here is 13 minutes long, and you probably won't be able to hear the sound here, but this is going to teach them through the initial content of that engagement pattern stuff. So what, stereotypes, myths, whatever role model media we've got coming up in there.
Yep.
Now, importantly, we've got 2 bars here. We've got 1 bar, which is just the time bar, as we're completely used to on any video. But we have another bar here, which is the one underneath, which is the little tracking bar. So you might be able to see it's got tiny little bars there. So if I let that play, you'll see this one will build up underneath, just where my cursor is here. So that means that we're actually tracking that video watching by the student.
All right, okay, yep.
Okay. So we're literally measuring not just how much of it they watched, but which bits of it that they watched.
Yep.
Meanwhile, over on this right-hand side, they've got 2 things available to them. So at the moment, I've watched 3% of this video here on engagement patterns. When you see here, I've watched no % of the second one.
Yep.
We've got to go back to some early stuff. You'll probably see I've watched 100% of these ones. But the important thing is I can jump to these tutorials if I want to. In other words, the student has all of the teaching for all of the course available to them all of the time. Now, obviously, you're going to advise them and set them assignments and recommend to them which order they do it and that kind of stuff. But just purely from a perspective of access, they can access high quality teaching continuously, repeatedly, whenever they need it. So if they do have a gap or they miss something or they've forgotten something, they can go backwards and forwards.
Yep.
Equally, there's another tab here that says notes. Okay, so here, I was being taught here about facilities. So I might write a note here, which is access includes the concept of facilities. Okay, and I can save that note, and that note is now saved against that specific part of that specific video. Yep. Equally, if I was to go back somewhere, if I was to go back to here, and this is going to say something to do with glass ceiling here. Okay, so I could write here the glass ceiling effect is, and then I could write whatever that glass ceiling effect is. And the important thing is that these notes here, they're now bookmarked against those specific moments. So again, if I want to go back and hear about facilities, I click that note and it's going to teach me about facilities.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good.
So imagine they're writing in, I don't know, whatever femur is a long bone, or the talus is found at the upper part of the foot and articulates with it, etc. Whatever the content happens to be.
Yep.
But what you want to do with your students is get them in the habit of making these notes. We often find with the students, they make very factual notes here, sort of like, these are the key facts from the video.
All right, yeah.
So they still probably want to draw something on handmade notes. They still want to make their notes from the video, but this is stored permanently against this video.
Yeah.
They can download those notes. They can see all of those notes. They can search through them. They can do all that kind of stuff with them. But that's really, really useful for the student to be able to do that. Now, if we just go back to the course for a sec. So obviously what we want from our students there is we want them to watch that tutorial, and we want them to make loads of notes. Clubs are important because whatever. And they're going to write something in there. So we want them making those lots of notes in that video. That's what we want them doing and watching the entire video. But importantly now, if I go back to the course, if I go down to engagement patterns here, okay, rather than watch, so let's assume I've watched that whole video a second. I'm now going to go and start practice, okay? So if I go into start practice, it's saying here, you're about to start practice mode. There's no pressure here. You can take your time and use your notes to help. This is about learning, not testing. So here, the student is welcome in this space, and we are not reporting their success to their teacher. Practice mode is for them. So it's a good space for mistakes, basically. And you'll notice, again, if I come in here, notice two things. My notes are available to me about the topic. Okay, so if I've made good notes, I should be able to have a good go at these. Equally, there's no time.
All right, okay,
so I've got no time limits. It's saying which of the following defines a stereotype: a deliberate lie, an overgeneralization, information based on facts, a set of rules. So I think it's that one, and I would know it's that one if I had made notes about that. And I submit my answer, and I get my feedback.
Oh, that's really good, isn't it? Yeah.
So you can see how making the notes is helpful for the student. It's not just make your notes and full stop. Make your notes because it's literally going to help you. So we'll go through some questions here. Again, if you look at this question, it's quite wordy. Look closely at this graph. We've made these images ourselves, okay? So it really adds to the question quality. And by the way, this place, Wiggleton by Sea, we've made this place up, okay? So we've created this place where we even think we're going to put some merchandise out for this. So like little caps and t-shirts and things in time. But anyway, that's not the important thing. So we've got here a graph, Wiggleton by Sea, reasons for not having a gym membership. Okay, so we can look at that. And what we're going to get, of course, is this. It's saying here, in Wiggleton by Sea, there are many people who can afford a gym membership and who have a gym locally but still choose not to go. Which of the following strategies could help them to join the gym? So we're assuming that they can afford and that the gym is local. So if we look at the image, so it looks like too expensive, lack of time, no gym close by. Okay, so it looks like lack of time and friends might be the key thing here. So you might have discounts if friends join together.
Yep.
Longer opening hours. Now I'm not totally sure I've got the entire answer, but you see here the students had to really think about that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so with our questions in the site, we have questions at level 1, level 2, and level 3.
Yep.
Okay, that would have been a level 3 question. It's quite challenging. But again, in terms of the directive feedback, we're not just telling them they're right and wrong, but we're telling them why they're right or wrong.
Yeah, no, that's
really important. So they'll keep going in here, and forgive me. So which of I wasn't going to read these, but which of the following defines the glass ceiling effect? So a perceived upper limit. Let's go for that. We get some feedback here. I'm just going to guess. So forgive me for getting these. I'm sure I will. But the point is, I can keep going in here forever, and this will never end this practice mode. Okay. But when I'm ready and I think I've done well, I can switch to test mode. It says here, you're about to start test mode. In test mode, we'll record your score and report it in your dashboard. Your teacher will be able to see it too. Are you ready? Okay. So now it's more official. So now I'm going in. Okay. So I got this question earlier. All right. But now I've got a minute to answer it. Okay, so we know it was that one and that one.
Oh, that's good because it's time based, so that's like realistic to examine it.
Exactly. So we've timed it in that way. Okay, so here, and we keep going. This one, I've got a minute for this question. And you get the same idea. I've got to analyze the graph, make my decision, and go that one. I haven't read it, so forgive me if I get it wrong. Okay, so this one I had to go for 3 answers. It's a tough question. But again, if I do this one, for example, okay, notice now that my time stops and I can review my feedback without pressure. The other thing in test mode is notice I don't have my notes available. I'm on my own in this environment.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do a bunch of questions. The graph shows average week. So I'm going to go for that one. So highest participation is probably going to be boys, I would imagine. Okay, so boys have the highest participation rate. So male children, and so on. So anyway, I keep going now, and when I'm ready, again, test mode lasts forever. Okay, you just keep going, you keep going, and keep going.
Yeah. So, all right. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to exit test. Are you sure you want to test exit? We suggest 30 minutes. You know, a lot of your students, well, not your students, a lot of students fall short of 30 minutes, but that's what we're recommending to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to exit my test, and it's going to tell me that score in that discrete period. So in that period, I got 50%. But importantly, if we look at my tracking in a second and my data in a second, it's not that 50% is only for that discrete period. What we report to the student and the teacher is what we call the live score. And the live score is the last 12 questions they've done on this area.
Yeah.
Okay. So every time they do 12 more questions, they can completely replace that which went before. So if I've got, for example, low scores in a topic area, and then I learned it really well, I did 12 great questions, my live score shoots to 100%.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's really good for the student for two reasons. One is because it means that the student is always in control of improving something that doesn't look so good. 12 questions, bang, and we're back up there.
Yeah.
The other thing is if you've got a student who's got a score of 90% in something they did in September, you as the teacher can set them an assignment on that thing. Do they get 90% today? And has that knowledge gone stale? In other words, you can push them backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
So it's not like we did it in September, that was your only chance. No, we learned it well then, and we've done numerous repeated tests or quizzes or whatever to get us to that point. But let's go back to the course, and you'll see down here we have this checkpoint thing. Okay, so this checkpoint here is like an end of topic test. So this is going to test us on these 2 lessons and these 3 lessons. So now I'm going to go into here. It says here, right, I've got 22 minutes, 30 seconds. I've got 30 questions, and I'm being timed on the whole test. And if you look under here, I can actually see what's on the test. So engagement patterns, commercialization, advantages and disadvantages, commercialization, conduct of performers. That's what my test is about. So now I want to start this checkpoint. Okay?
Yep.
So here, you'll see a different environment now. Look, I've done 1 out of 30 questions. I've now got 22 minutes and 20 odd seconds left. And I'm going to answer this. Exaggerating the foul in football is an example of what? I'm going to go gamesmanship. But notice when I hit next question, I don't know whether I got it right or wrong or not.
All right. Okay. Yep.
Okay. So I don't know. What's that? It's popped up there. Commercialization turns sport into a commodity. What is a commodity? Right. I think it's a product.
Yeah.
And we keep going. A person's guidance to go to a club. Or this Hootlet, by the way, I don't know why that's appearing there. Hootlet is a little app we use. It's nothing to do with our website. We use it for our social media.
All right,
so it allows us to immediately post. But no idea why it's popping up on here. So anyway, I keep going with these questions. You know, some of them are easy, some of them are hard. You know, some of them are really challenging. We've got in this one we've got to look at the graph. Then we've got to drag things into place. But again, I don't know whether I'm getting the right. This one's about matching things up or grouping things. Group the following terms as to whether they increase participation or decrease participation. So sexism is going to decrease, glass ceiling decrease, exclusivity decrease, positive role models increase, inclusivity increase. You get the idea.
Yeah, of course.
So that is a tough question for a 15, 16-year-old. They've got to know what these terms mean.
Yeah.
So that's really challenging for those guys. So we'll put a couple of questions. Anyway, you get the idea of how this works. So we do a whole bunch of questions, and after 30 questions, I'll just start skipping now. After 30 questions, I'm going to get my score. In fact, I'm not even going to keep going. I'm just going to submit my checkpoint. Okay, I haven't even seen all the questions. Are you sure you want to submit your answers? There are questions you haven't answered. Okay, so I'm going to say no, and actually I can go back to previous questions and answer something. Okay, so if there's stuff I haven't done, but now I'm ready to submit my checkpoint. Are you sure? Yeah, let's submit it. And obviously I haven't done very well because loads of questions I didn't even attempt and a few I got wrong as well. Okay, but from here I can review my answers. So here it's going to show me all of the answers I put. So this is the first question I got. This is the second question I got. This is the third I didn't attempt. It tells me what the answer would have been. So now with sort of calmness and quiet, I can review the test.
All right, yeah.
All right, and it says up here a couple of things. Total score, 10%. Best answers in a row, 2. Worst answers in a row, 13. It shows me here that I only attempted 18 questions and that I took 1 minute 59, which obviously for a 23-minute quiz is not enough. But you get the idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Remember, this is just for the student. This is all still just the student at the moment. Let's choose our Edexcel. This is the course we're looking at. By the way, do feel free to jump in with any questions or anything, you know.
Yeah, well, just as you're going, I'm writing a few questions, but we can
Yeah,
I'll ask them at the end if you wish.
No problem. So let's have a look at that checkpoint first of all. Okay, so let's go into the checkpoint tracking first of all. So you notice here that all of my checkpoints are tracked. And what we're saying to the student is that you should be getting the checkpoints above this green line before you kind of settle for it. And that green line is set at 90%.
All right,
now, traditionally in schools, we can't say to students, all students should get 90% because, you know, they've kind of got a limited time to access, and we've got, you know, everyone's got a different starting position. But here, you can repeat this as many times as you need to and get to that level.
All right, yeah.
So you can see here, you know, the students being encouraged to redo these just by the use of colours in this little line. No one's going to make them unless the teacher does. But that tracking is important for them, and they can track all the way along their entire checkpoint journey for the whole course. Equally, on their effort here, you see here, the way this works is at the moment, this is my effort based on chapters, the big components. So you see here, structure and function of the musculoskeletal system. I've seen 62.5% of the tutorials, and my average live score is 57%. So obviously here, we'd want to do a bit more testing. If we go across to what we just did, look, you see here on engagement, on social cultural influences, I've only seen 2.75% of the tutorials, and my scoring is at 55%. Obviously, we need to do something about that.
Yeah.
You know, that's not at the level required. But equally, I can click into this, and it's going to take me down into that topic, and I can click into the topic, and I can go down and look at, so in this case, commercialization. I haven't seen any of the tutorials, but I've got 87% on one of the tests from I must have done that some time ago when I was showing somebody else something.
All right.
So this allows the student to go down into the different chapters. So again, if I was looking at structure and function of musculoskeletal system, here we've got the topic of the skeleton. They go further down into the skeleton. Now I've got my 3 lessons: functions, classification of bones, structure of the skeleton. Of course, here the student's going to look at that and think, right, I need to do some testing on functions of the skeleton and on classifications. I'll leave structure of the skeleton for later because I've done all right on that. So it's giving the student that feedback which they need to focus on areas that they are weaker in.
Yeah, so it's personalised, isn't it?
Exactly. It's completely individualized. So
And
this will
immediate feedback.
It's absolutely immediate. Yeah. Oh, well, actually, that isn't completely true. Some of our graphs take around about 3 seconds to update, but but the student's never going to know that that's not immediate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this graph here is the one that takes longest to get used to, but it's actually the most important. Let me just drag across. It made my computer's got a lot of resources going to this live stream, so let me just make sure. Let me just give it a second to populate. Where are you? Let me just refresh this page. Sorry. So what this isn't the way this graph works. And I'll show you it with regard to the teacher view as well in a second. See, my computer's not liking the fact that I'm on a live stream and trying to resource heavy pages as well. But what this graph is showing, I probably better I show you on the teacher page, I think. But it's trying to show the average live score of the student. So if you see this one here, this yellow dot, okay, this is showing now that overall for this entire course, I've now tested 370 questions, and my cumulative average live score is 50%. So what we're saying here is that this student, Draco, on average, his average live score is 50%. And what we're arguing is that students should be pushing that as close or above to that 90% level as possible continuously. Now, bearing in mind they've got the tutorials available and practice mode available. If they just jump to test and don't do very well, then they're not following that kind of process we want them to. But this is their ongoing live score. So if you ever get to speak to an Ofsted inspector, they'll say things to you like progress over time. This is literal progress over time, which is automatically updating for the student, and as we'll see in a second, you as the teacher as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, this is tracking so that it's measuring where the student started from
All
So
right, yeah.
there's the start date and where they're so this is a crazy situation with the student. The student's on the site for like 3 years or something.
Yeah.
But when you set your groups up, you set up a start date and an end date, and it will track them between those two dates and tell you what their average live scores are.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a couple of other quick things. We have messages here. Okay. So if you have a look at this, this is a conversation between Draco and Minerva McGonagall. And you see here that I highlighted as a student, I'm struggling with levers from the EdXL course. I should have shown you that earlier. And my teacher receives this message and starts responding to me. Okay. So this is an automatic messenger. In fact, let me show you quickly how that works. So if I go back to the EdXL 9-to-1 course, let's just go into the very first lesson. Let's just go into here. You see, let's say I'm watching this and I get to this point and I'm stuck or whatever. So I get to this point about mineral storage and I'm stuck. I can just ask for help here. So it says here, hi teacher, I'm going to select my teacher, Minerva McGonagall. I don't know what minerals are.
Where was that tab to get on that for the help?
I'll show you there. I'll show you now. Please help. Okay, so that message now gets sent to my teacher. Just 1 second. I'm just going to shout to someone a second.
Yep.
Martha. Just give me 1 second, because I'm going to ask Martha just to be the teacher for us, and then she can answer the messages. Hang on a second.
All right.
So while I'm not really suggesting that you're answering messages at 10 o'clock at night or anything like that, obviously you've got to do what's right for you as the teacher, of course. But the point is, the student can highlight to you that they're stuck just by hitting this little button down here, this little kind of life ring button here.
All right. Yeah. See it now. Yep.
So if they're ever confused by a concept, like I've got this word in here, erythropoiesis, like what the hell is that? They might want to ask. Hopefully we explain it in the tutorial, but you get the point. If I now want to ask about that as the student, my teacher, at least via Messenger, is available to me.
Oh,
and
that's good.
What you'll see now is on my messages, look here, you see how this is automatically populated for my teacher, McGonagall. Yep. I'm struggling with this. I don't know what minerals are. Please help. Now, by the time hopefully Martha's going to log in now, she's hopefully going to answer that for us. Okay, so hopefully see that coming back through. And again, it's automatic. It's about every half second updates. Now, just a reassurance for you. Teachers can message students and students can message teachers. Students cannot, under any circumstances, message students. It's impossible.
All right, yeah, that's brilliant.
So you're not going to get any daft, it's not distracting. It's not a messenger in that sense who they can just mate up with whoever and then end up being a little bit silly. Yeah. Now, other quick things, just so you're aware, we also get these notifications. Notifications basically if something changes on the site. So you see here, you've been assigned to take a test, you've been assigned to watch lessons, you've been enrolled in a course, this kind of thing. So you get these notifications when something changes. And the other thing about these, remember I'm the student, is these also come with emails. So the student's been emailed to let them know about this stuff. Now you see I've got a message pop up here. So again, this is not this is not going to shock you what messengers are for.
Yeah,
Draco, So my teacher, okay, Marta next door, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hi Draco, please watch the lesson again, paying attention to minutes 3 to 5. I'll speak to you tomorrow during the lesson and clarify any doubts. So you see the teacher. Yeah. Now again, please accept from me, I'm not suggesting, let me just come off the screen share a second. I'm not suggesting that you should be 24-hour teacher. That is not our point.
Yeah.
But it gives you a facility whereby if the student does get stuck and they're on their own, the student has the capacity to quickly inform you of it. And then when you're ready, you can have a look at that. Now, again, the messages all come with emails.
All right.
Okay. So you would be emailed to let you know that Draco hit that button. Now, again, I wholeheartedly encourage you to switch your notifications off in the evening and not to look at it until the next morning. But it's there if you want it.
Yep. No, that's brilliant. Really good. Yep.
Okay, let me just switch to teacher view now. Okay, so I'll just log out and I'll log back in as I'll log back in as the teacher, as McGonagall. Right, bear with me a second. Give me 1 second. Okay, right. Let me share my screen again. So, can you see my screen again?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, you see here. So I'm logged in as the teacher now. Just ever so quick. If I go to my notifications, look, see here. There's a good example. Draco marked functions of the skeleton as struggling. It's useful to see that. My messages. Look, I've got the. So let's have a look at Draco. So I've got the other side of this now. So I can write back to Draco here. Whatever I could say, is that okay? Or whatever. Yeah, you know this sort of thing. Are you still stuck?
It's really good.
Are you still stuck? But anyway, once Draco says no, I'm fine or whatever, I can go to here and say, this is where I'd encourage you to think about how you want to do this. What you've got as the school admin, who will probably be you, by the way, you will know if any of these have not been addressed.
All right. Okay.
So,
all right.
so if you've got a team of teachers, now I don't know how you want to use that, but if you've got a team of teachers and you've got one teacher who never answers these support requests ever, then you're going to know it.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'm going to do now is I've provided support, and now we move on. Again, just from the teacher perspective, right? I'm going to choose my group, which is this McGonagall group, and I'm going to message all students. So you might want to do a group message, not just to individual students. Okay. So your homework is whatever. You set your homework as. Now again, you send that now goes to all of your students. So if we look back at Draco, that's going to be in there as your chat messenger. But you sent that to everybody. But the important thing is when Draco replies, if he hits reply, it comes to you alone.
All right. Yep.
So he can't message Parvati or Neville or whoever.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're isolated in that sense. Now, next thing is you as the teacher have got this thing called assignments. Okay. So let's assume we've got Draco, Harry, and Ron. Let's just say you want them to watch a certain lesson. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say, watch lessons. I'm going to select my group. This is for McGonagall. Select course, Edexcel 9 to 1 or whatever course it happens to be. Right, the ones I want these three to watch are about the heart. So functions of CV, structure of CV, graphical representations. So now I've done that. I'm going to set the start date as right now so they can start it immediately. And I'm going to set the end date as, let's say, a week today. And I'm going to set it a week today, 1 minute earlier. So they've got exactly 1 week. Okay. So now I'm going to
watch the videos, do the practice.
So this is purely to watch the videos. This is purely
okay, yeah.
Now they can access them anytime, but what you're saying here is within this window, you have to watch these three. And I'm going to title that whatever. Watch the 3 CV system videos, and I might say make excellent notes, and I might say there will be a test on whatever it was on Monday next week. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, these settings here, right? Do you want to make it compulsory? Basically, I never use the not mandatory. For me, it's almost always mandatory. But this is interesting. Assigned to whole group or to specific students? Well, we said for Harry, to Ron, and to Draco. Remember, you can go back and say whole group, set it for all of them, that's fine. But I'm setting it for those 3, and I'm going to set that assignment. Okay, so that assignment now, these guys have 6 days, 23 hours, and whatever it is, 58 minutes to complete that task. And again, let me just give Marta a shout. I'll ask her to log in as Draco and do a bit of watching, and I'll show you how that tracks. Just give me 1 second. So Marta's going to be Draco for us, and she's going to do a little bit of watching. But let me just go back to assignments here. Equally now, let's assume I'm doing something else. I also want to set them a test. So for some reason, I want to set the same 3 students a test. All 3 students have got to get a minimum pass of 90%. No, let's do 85%. That's the minimum passing standard for this, okay? I want to select lessons. What did we say they were? They were those 3 there. Okay, those 3 lessons. And I've got 63 questions available. So I'm going to say, right, 20 questions, and it's going to come from all 3 of those. Same as before. It opens now, and it closes next week. Okay? Or you could open it now and say you've got an hour. I mean, you can do any time. So if you think about a test in class, it's literally going to format the test for you, and everyone's test will be different, and it's going to mark it for you and collate the results.
That is brilliant.
So here, let's just set it for a week time for some reason, and we'll set it, what was it, to 29 or something like that. And I'm going to say CV system test, reach 85%, and complete in before, what was it? Was it the 16th? Complete before 16th at 4:30. Okay, so I set that. Okay, allow retakes. Should we, if they don't get the passing standard? Yeah, I'm going to allow retakes. Mandatory? Yeah, it's mandatory. Whole group? No. It's for my Harry, Ron, and Draco. Maybe they're my intervention group, whatever, you know, or maybe they've gone ahead. You know, whatever. I would imagine Hermione's probably the one that's gone ahead, but you know what I mean. I mean, it could be all kinds of reasons. Someone's had flu for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. It could, or it could be some. It's one. We've got a sports performer who goes away for ice dance competitions. Okay, you know the kind of all kinds of reasons. You might want to do this, but the point is now I've set that assignment for the student, and they receive email notification of that both now and as the deadline approaches. So if they tell you, Miss, I didn't know, I don't want to offend your ears, but it's bullshit. You know, they trust me, they know. So it gives you a very strong hand in that sense, because there's no wriggle room. Equally, the experience is very positive. So that balance will provide them a great experience, but they kind of can't wriggle out of it, right? So that's ultimately what we want. Now let's go back to assignments. I set this one a moment ago. Bear in mind, there's loads in here because we've got these ones in here. There's all kinds. We set this one a minute ago. Watch 3. So you see here now, Draco's already underway. So this is the watching one. If I just click on here, 4 seconds ago, Draco was 14% into that first one. Now, if I just refresh, it's basically live data. So you see now he's done 17%. Now, bear in mind, so imagine you're looking at this across a week, or the homework's due tomorrow, and you're watching this the night before. If you were obsessive enough, and I don't encourage this, by the way, but you could even watch them do it. You could even have them doing tutorials in the class altogether if you wanted.
All right, yeah.
But you can see that data developing. Okay, so you see here, Marta's basically a quarter of the way through that CV system tutorial. Okay, and so imagine you've got 25 kids, and that list is 25 long. You know who's done the homework and who hasn't.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
All right. Now, I'll only say at this point as well that you can also create assignments for take a checkpoint. So you can select whichever checkpoint you want. I mean, you probably get the idea at this point.
Yeah.
But you can say, let's say you want them to take checkpoint 1, and you want them all to get 90%. Start now, and they've got to finish it. And they've got to finish it today. They've got to do it by 10 p.m.
Yeah.
For some reason. Okay, and checkpoint. And this time I'm going to set it. I'm not going to put any guides just to save us time. Allow retakes, yes. Mandatory, yes. Assigned to whole group, yes. They've now been set that checkpoint, and they've got 5 hours to do it.
Yeah.
Now that'd be pretty harsh, I think, that one. You know what I mean? I mean, you probably wouldn't set a task like that. But here's an interesting thought for you. Why not set an assignment checkpoint that opens at 10:15 on a Tuesday and closes at 10:55 on a Tuesday in your lesson period? And it's a 40-minute test.
All right, yeah. So it's during the lesson, a fixed test.
Yeah, assuming you've got devices, of course, you need to have
Yeah,
access for
well,
that.
yeah, I've got a couple of questions regarding devices and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
well, fire away with those now, and I'll come back to the tracking and things in a second.
Okay, yeah, so we're AQA, so that's
Mm-hmm.
okay, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got AQA. So I'm only showing you on Excel because it was the top of the list. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's all right. My other questions were like, we do have some iPads in the department, and we might be able to get access to a classroom or laptops. But I wondered if any schools have just worked with the students' phones.
Right, I'll give you. It's very hard for me to speak above something like school internal policy here. Okay, so obviously you take this advice as works for you in your setting. So my view is that the best scenario you've got. Well, let me put it this way. For me, iPads are way out there in terms of expense and overkill. Like, you don't need anything that good. For me, an iPad, schools use something like 0.05% of their potential in classrooms. They're too expensive. They do too much stuff. I would encourage you, if you've got 250 quid knocking about, which I'm not suggesting you would, but investing something like the cheapest, toughest screen and internet access you can get, something like a very, very simple tablet, 60 quid-ish is typical.
All right, yeah.
That's a much better investment, because it's funny, really. iPads are lovely and I love them too, but we don't need that here.
Yeah.
What we need here is something that students can get Wi-Fi on, that the screen works and is quick enough for them to use. So there's that way. In terms of the students using phones, that is exactly what my students do.
All right, okay, that's good to know, because I just think that actually most of our students, I'd probably say 80%, will be fine with their own devices.
Of course.
And then we've got a few iPads, but maybe we'll do what you said, because we use our iPads trampolining and for peer analysis and things like that.
Of course.
I will look into the tablets, but we could also probably get some access to laptops as well.
Exactly. I mean, laptops are great. Again, I'm very familiar. I've used a lot with Chromebooks. These kind of very plasticky kind of Google computers you can get. They're a bit better now, to be fair. But 200 quid a pop, and all you've got is internet. But that's all you need, really. So that would be my view. Now, one thing I'd really encourage you to be aware of, though, is that just remember what we would call the digital divide. I don't know the area you live in really well, but there are some young people still today who don't have internet at home. They don't have devices. So maybe just feel your way through that, because if you're setting a computer-based homework and little Johnny doesn't have a computer, then you need to support him. Because it's going to be one of those classic cases where, don't worry, you can use our devices available 5 till 6 every week on a Wednesday. Come and join it. Whatever you find your solution. But just be aware. We tend to forget today that some people don't have devices. Yeah. And if you've got a lot of if you've got any deprived areas around you, obviously that tendency is going to be higher. Yeah. So just be aware of that, because it's so easy to assume, isn't it? Like, everyone's got a computer, everyone's got a mobile, everyone's got a smartphone. Yeah. Well, apparently the figure's on about 94% at the moment. Yeah. But there's 6% out there without. So just be aware of that. Yep. And one other thing I would say on that one as well, Kelly, I mean, we've got a publication online. It's completely free. I'm not trying to flog this to you. It's called Education Reimagined. It shows you how we set our classroom up. So the way our classroom works is, because we try to take this facility and sort of smash it together with what a classroom is and see what it kind of comes out like, So in our classroom, we tend to limit devices to students. So we don't want everyone on the computer. Well, occasionally we do, but if we're doing like testing, for example, but we don't want everyone on the device at the same time. So let's say we've got 25 kids in a class, we would typically have about 8 devices in that scenario. All right, yeah. And then the students have to work on those at the time that they need them most. But it also puts a lot of emphasis on other experiences, such as worksheet development, play-based activities, one-to-one work with the teacher. That stuff is really elevated, because the students go to what we call terminals, or the computers, for the teaching and the quizzing, but they can't do that every second of every lesson. They've got to manage that time. Yeah, well, actually, that was another question that I had regarding, obviously, some of the questions that you've mentioned were, like the analysis of the graphs were AO3 because they're analysis questions. But in terms of discuss, that's where I did go away and do the worksheets. Is it? They were. I'm so glad you said that, Clay. I cannot agree with you more. Look, one of the things we get accused of this sometimes as well, it really hurts us that people suggest that we're trying to replace teaching or stuff like that. It couldn't be further from the truth. There's some stuff you cannot do on a computer. Okay, so there's some obvious stuff such as interacting with your teacher, having one-to-one personal time, looking in people's eyes, feeling what people feel. You can't do that on a computer. Other things you can't do are more elevated skills, truly evaluating something. We can give an evaluative question, but to really evaluate something, you have to experience that for real in person. So what we're trying to do is I think, typically speaking, we do a lot of AO1 and AO2, and we touch AO3, especially in the teaching, because we do a lot of AO3 in the teaching and tutorials. But what we're trying to do here is give you much more time back, so the things that are truly important in the classroom can be emphasized further. So here's like a really provocative thought for you, okay, Kelly? And don't jump again. Don't think I'm endorsing this for you. I'm just trying to create a question, really. So here's a thought for you. In my classroom, I don't do any teaching from the front whatsoever.
Yep.
Okay, and you can probably see how that, you can get to feel now how that operates. So in that scenario, I've got 100% of my time to work in small groups and one-to-one with students, and they've got teaching, and they've got quizzing, and we've got tracking, and we've got targets and assignments and all those kinds of things. But the key thing is, it's given me time in the classroom to be a human being.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of what this is about, because it sounds paradoxical, but we're saying technology that humanizes the classroom. If it's technology because computers are cool, who cares, It's like, and again, this might sound odd, like the tech side of this bores me senseless. Like I couldn't give a monkeys about it, to be perfectly honest with you. But the impact the tech has, if you get that impact right, is magnificent, because it can make students work at their own pace. It means that students can go forward and backwards in their learning as they need to. It means that it's much harder for a student to get completely stuck. It means the teacher can spend much more time in one-to-one with learners. It's very powerful. So
definitely.
So that's where we come at it from. But please don't ever interpret. You wouldn't believe how often I get this, Kelly. Like, oh, James is trying to replace P theory teaching.
Oh, no.
We're really trying to upskill people to be a different model of what a teacher is. So let me show you like what might loosely be called tracking. Let's call it analytics. Okay. So if I go to, you see the screen at the moment, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So if I go to the dashboard here, we'll choose so at the moment I've got no stats because I haven't selected my group. So let's select my group here. And let's select the course we've been looking at, which is the EdXL course. Okay, and you see here now, I've got one group, and I've got some broad statistics, and all the assignments are there as well. So the broad statistics are that my group, they've studied 3.28% of it, and they've tested 18%. So what I want to do is I want to know more details about that.
Yep.
Okay. So now what I'm interested in is, right, who's contributing more or less to that total? Okay, in fact, let's have a look at it on your course. Let's have a look at A course. We've got more details on there, I think. So here, let's go to this group. This will give you a better picture. Okay, so here I'm starting to see who is contributing time to these processes and how much of these courses they're watching. So I can see the individual contribution. Now, if I go into Draco's profile, for example, so this is only on the AQA, I can see Draco's graph and what he's been doing in terms of his live score. I can also go in and I can see his effort for this course. So I can see all of the topics, lessons that he's been doing and what he hasn't been doing, basically. Okay, so I can go further into the skeleton and look at what he has and hasn't done. Equally, I can come back and get the big picture of the whole group, including the effort level look. So here, on average, my group spent 1.48 hours watching tutorials. Harry's only done 0.08 of that. Hermione, 0.5. Draco has done tons, 8.34 hours, because, of course, he's our little demo student here.
Yeah.
So, of course, Draco's flying here in comparison to his classmates, and we've got some we'd be really concerned about.
Yeah.
But the point is here, we can see how much time students are spending on things. And then this big picture, and again, you can drill down into individual students, but again, this one here, let me show you this on the edX, so it'll give us a better picture. So on the checkpoints here, Bear with me a second.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, so let's select edit cell here a second. So we'll go into this group here and we'll go to checkpoints. Okay, so on here, I can see what checkpoints people have done and have not done. Okay, so you see here, I don't have much data on this at the moment, but you can see these checkpoints that people are, so I can look into Hermione here and I can see all of the checkpoints that she's been doing and she hasn't been doing. Okay, so you can drill down and look at that content to see. I think let's go to edit cell. So again, so this is for Hermione. I think here we can see Hermione's checkpoint profile across those different tests, and it's going to provide you all of that data as you want it. But again, you can always go out and you can always see that kind of big picture on there. Okay.
Oh, that's really good.
So yeah, and so you can interact with the students, and so again, if you imagine, you see, right, okay, student Hermione is only got 50% on a particular lesson. What you can do there is you can set her an assignment if you want to. It says, right, do some more questions on this, or go back to the tutorial on this, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that way you can help them to improve their scores as they go. So as those scores improve, you can be targeting them towards the areas that they need to focus on most. So again, it depends on how much time you want to spend interacting with that data, how much time you want to spend setting assignments. But you could theoretically set the exact task for each individual student at the exact moment they needed it most.
Yeah.
But of course, there's a reality where you probably are going to set group-based assignments. Group-based homework. You know, it's just what time allows, really.
Yeah, of course. No, definitely. Right, you mentioned something about publication online.
Yeah, I can show you on it. I'll show you on the website. Yeah, I'll show you how to get to it. Give me 1 second. You're very welcome to get a hard copy of this as well, but basically the key thing is that the online one's free, so I'll recommend that one to you.
All right.
But on here, if you come into I just clicked on news on the website there's loads of good stuff in here, by the way.
All right, yeah.
But if you come in here and hit classroom, for example, we have got this blog post here, Education Reimagined. Okay, and Education Reimagined, it's a little blog post here, but more importantly, we've got a full publication, which if you...
Wait, I can't hear you anymore. I can't hear you for some reason. I don't know if you can hear me.
Kelly, you still there?
All right, yeah, I can hear you now. I wondered if I'd done something. I've been panicking.
I just something weird happened there. I just got a notification that I think I see what it is. I think what it was is Mike logged into our he logged into our Zoom account. You can only have it open once. I think that's what it was.
All right.
Go back to what we were doing. So bear with me a second. So where are we? So yeah, so you're able to see that at the moment.
Yes.
You can see the publication.
Yep.
Okay, so this is our model for success. I'll talk you through it another time, but for us it's very important because it enables us to identify what's going right and wrong. So basically, success equals familial involvement, so how much support there is around the learner. B is behaviors, like learning behaviors such as completion, effort, time, perseverance, persistence, the behaviors, times resources, like really high quality resources. And we always argue that resources must be available, self-paced and repeatable. And this is, but all of that is undermined by what we call a mastery deficit. A mastery deficit is if the student develops gaps in their knowledge and they're not dealt with, that's going to undermine everything else potentially.
Yeah.
And we multiply all that together by what we call valuable time. So valuable time is two things for us. It's time spent in deep concentration, and it's valuable time spent in one-to-one with a teacher.
Yep.
Nothing else for us is valuable time. So, for example, a teacher at the front of a class, like I did for many years, by the way, delivering to students, we do not consider valuable time. Anyway, you can see where that fits into our overall scheme. And then this is our classroom, which, by the way, we just made that a little bit smaller.
That's good, yeah.
We literally have the classroom. The classroom. I mean, this computer I'm on now is not a mobile computer, but it's literally just behind me. We've built this
Right.
for real. Okay, so the way our classroom works is just. Okay, so the way it works for us is that we have 4 areas to our classroom. Again, I'm not endorsing you do this tomorrow. You need to think this through and decide whether this is the application that you would want. So this is what we call a terminal space, where this kind of Wi-Fi signal is. Okay.
Yeah.
And what we do with that space is students go there for tutorials, quizzing, checkpoints, that kind of thing. But notice there's probably going to be 25 kids in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 computers.
Yeah.
Because we don't want them on computers all at the same time, and they have to manage their time. The space to the back here, this is what we call the quiet study space. So students spend time there, and they take paper-based resources, worksheet, past paper questions, textbook research, reading, anything that happens here. In this space to the back left, this is what we call the play space. So students go there to do things like they go things to model things, to debate, to play, to discuss, to build models, to construct things, to play games, and that happens there. Anything which involves doing happens here. And then finally, this is what we call small group teaching. So if we've got data that tells us, right, student A is stuck on topic Z, I will work with student A one-to-one in this area to influence that misunderstanding or whatever. And then we put this table in here because it's what we call our target setting. So when students come into our classroom, they can move around this room completely freely.
Yep.
So there's no seating plan. There's no John sits here, Kirsty sits there, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Students come here and they work to really, really, really rigorous targets. And we tend to set targets every 2 weeks. And the student can do them in any order, at any pace, but they have to finish those targets in that period of time.
Yep.
If they don't, we've got a massive problem.
Yeah.
So if you think those targets are really rigorous, they can pace and direct their time as they need to, but they've got all of the resources around them they could possibly need, including completely on-tap time with the teacher, why wouldn't a student learn in that environment?
Yeah, of course, definitely.
So that's how we do it. Now, that's probably the most extreme form. We're not suggesting you jump to that immediately. That would be risky.
Well, I'd have to, our classroom's quite small and it's quite, so I'd have to start to plan. I have asked for certain rooms, but as you've probably known in the past, PE sometimes come last, don't they, in terms of room allocation and stuff.
That wouldn't be uncommon, I think it's fair to say. But I think the important thing to say about that classroom as well is, notice that classroom is made of chairs and tables. It's not an expensive, hard to equip place. It's pretty straightforward. Yes, you need a couple of devices of some kind in order to make this work. But again, just let me repeat, Kelly, I'm not advocating that for you at St. Lytham, because I genuinely don't know at this point whether that's right for you now.
Well, that's the way I'd like to go, definitely. It's just it might take a little bit longer to get
absolutely there. And that's where the joy of it is as well. You wherever you are now, I'm not even going to say it's like this and like this, because it's just different. So you're here at the moment, you want to get here, and this journey is where the interesting bit is.
Yep.
And for us, it's exactly the same. The journey is the interesting bit. It's like, how can you, how can you take that first step is the key. Now, obviously, you can't go anywhere near that classroom unless you've got that online bit, which is obviously where we come in.
Yeah, of course.
So that's what we're trying to provide. But again, be reassured that we absolutely want to resource teachers in classrooms. I mean, you probably realize it's a bit of a bugbear for me that we people suggest that we're kind of trying to get rid of teachers. Absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's how we see it, and that's what we're trying to achieve, really. And it's gone well for us so far. I mean, we've got about 500 schools working with us in that model or some variety of that model.
Yeah.
And again, another useful thing you might want to know, Kelly. Did you know we already have Spanish on the site?
No, I did see it as one of the tabs, but it was almost, you know, your made up version.
No, we have GCSE Spanish courses already.
Right.
Our geography has started already, and our science is also underway. So we anticipate launching GCSE Science before Christmas.
Oh, that's really good. Well, I did actually speak to, I don't know if it's from our conversation today, actually, just briefly with an SLT member, just to say this is what I'm doing. And she's actually head of teaching and learning, and she was, even just on a 30-second conversation, was well on board and well impressed. So
okay, that's nice to hear. Well, so it's interesting for us, you know, Kelly, because we in many ways we do exactly the same as what anyone else does in teaching. We teach things, we set questions, we mark stuff. But for us, the important thing is it's available all the time and it's repeatable by the learner. That's a very, very, very powerful thing. And again, I don't know if you've noticed, like where we are here. So this bit here, let me just show you. This is actually, if I go off the set look, this is actually like a little film studio we're in here.
Oh, yeah.
So what we've built here, so the idea of this is that this is, can you see the wood above there? So what we've built here is this is where we're hosting. This is where we do our video work as well.
All right, yeah.
But this is also where we host people for interview and discussion. So we do. So for example, before I came on today, I was doing a podcast recording with a professor in Holland. Using the same Zoom software, and we're going to publish that as a conversation around feedback. So the idea is that we generate the conversation like this in this kind of interview podcasty. You know, we develop this conversation with more and more and more colleagues, and then of course we've got like that just out there through that door there. We've got our classroom that we've built as a model demonstration classroom, as we, as you just saw in the publication there. So we're trying to do that, and then there's the website stuff. So it's really important to us that like the technology side influences the classroom. That's ultimately what it's about.
That's brilliant. So I've got one question. So a student who is highly motivated, conscientious, they can't like almost complete the whole course in 6 months, can they?
Why would it take that long?
What, won't it take that long, or will it?
I said I was being provocative. I said, why would it take that long?
Oh, right. Okay, I get you.
Yeah, so that is a good problem to have, but it is a problem. It's one of the things that happened with me very early on. So I'll throw the question back at you. What are you going to do when you set students to do tasks 1, 2, 3 for homework, and 3 of them come back and do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10? What happens then? It's a problem. It's a great.
It is a great problem. Obviously, I would automatically find alternative extension tasks, practice, or get them to start teaching and coaching the less, supporting the less able, getting them to explain and understand. So there's almost another teacher in the room if they are that on the ball with it. Or
let me go crazy model, or do their exam in year 10.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or do their full A level in year 11.
Yeah. That's good.
Again, I am in no way advocating that for your learners in your specific context. It's just a provocative thought, really.
Yeah.
But so I'll give you a great example of this. For the 6 weeks before the A-level exams that happened a couple of weeks ago, we ran an experiment with one student who we never met, and we set them all of their assignments and all their tasks remotely. And that student who'd had a tough experience in school, basically, the teachers were struggling a bit. Let's put it that way. So we basically took this student through the entire A level in 6 weeks. Now we're waiting for the results to see how this student got on. But we think, from our analysis of what their learning quality was like, our belief is that they're going to have done extremely well in that A level. So it poses a really interesting question. Why does an A-level take 2 years? Who's decided that? Why does a GCSE take 2, or often in schools these days 3 years? Why? For some students, it may well need to take that long, but for others, it may well not need to take that long. But the key thing is this, right? Set the achievement rate as a fixed achievement rate. Like, people have to master these concepts. The point is, how you get there will differ from person to person.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful concept, because it means that all students can achieve, certainly the level we're talking about, very, very positive things.
Yeah.
We don't, that's not to sort of say something daft like some people aren't smarter than others. I'm not qualified to say that. But certainly at the level of a GCSE PE, like, I'm almost now 100% that very close to 100% of students can get all of the marks on those papers.
Yeah, of course.
It's just, they have to have the context around them that expects that of them and provides that to them.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to, that's what we're trying to do.
No, that's brilliant. Well, what I need to do now then, if it's okay with you, is thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
I've got all the information that I need. Really, to me, it's just a case of like, obviously my staff will get them to do, hopefully, if you're doing this again on Wednesday.
Yep.
But then also it's a case of basically getting the package and being able to play around with it and learn. Do you know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So
Absolutely
I
right.
get my way around the package, really.
Yeah, and it might be a matter of setting a couple of assignments for kids over the summer holidays, you know, without meaning to give them too much to do, you know, set them a couple of things, let them get familiar.
No, that's brilliant.
You know, and that'd be great. But no, it's a pleasure, and I really appreciate you jumping on, Kelly, actually. I mean, it's nice to do this, and it's nice to, isn't it nice? And I mean, isn't it nice in the modern world that you can connect so easily these days?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It makes life so much more achievable, you know, so it's really positive.
Definitely, you've answered loads of my questions anyway. You know, things I wasn't sure about.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll be definitely investing in the package anyway.
But really, Kelly, this is so important to me, right? I hope you know, I said that, like, the tech bores me, the money stuff bores me as well. Like, in many ways, I don't really care about that. As long, you know, as long as my summary on money is sort of more's better than less, but beyond that, whatever, you know. So for me, the key thing is, can we get it to influence the experiences of young people?
Yes.
Now, if we can achieve that is the key. So please accept from me that what I'm trying to sell here is much more an idea than a product, you know.
Yes.
And I will talk to you to any degree you need around that idea. I'm very passionate about it. I believe in it. Great. It feels in some ways like my life, and it sounds very heavy, but in some ways like my life's work. It's what I really want to try and achieve. So please always feel free to come back to me with any questions or clarifications. You know, don't hesitate.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure.
And if
Likewise
I've got
to
any
you.
more questions, I will definitely be in touch.
All right. All the best. Look after yourself, okay? And have a good holiday when it comes round.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.